Video games have been disappointing ever since 8th gen. Let's be frank, after the PS3 and Xbox 360 era, video games have gotten worse, as consoles aren't any better either. 9th gen isn't a bad generation as a whole, but the issues that led the 9th gen has been lukewarm. As time goes by, I started to feel let down with how all three companies handle their consoles. I'm not the one who would say they suck in terms of specs, other than the Switch. Xbox Series X and PS5 are great with features, mostly with Xbox, but it's actually insulting with how they, especially Microsoft, handle their consoles. With Xbox, Microsoft ruined the marketing of Xbox to the point of making the brand almost unsalvageable. Sony lost its identity and probably will suffer in the end as well, due to having no competition. Finally, Nintendo, a company that somehow got away with many bad practices. If Microsoft did anything remotely like Nintendo did, Xbox would have died on the spot. I mean, even Nintendo copied the Xbox One quote, "If you can't afford the Nintendo Switch 2, then go buy a Nintendo Switch 1. Anyway, it baffles me that the next gen consoles are already in discussion. I think it pisses me off so much that it might be the last time I might get a modern console. Though I might get a Nintendo Switch 2 because the Switch 1 hardware is terrible. Originally, I would not make a video like this, or at least let it be my first video. It's just that my actual first video is too long, and I need a semi-filler topic that relates to my channel. I kinda lied. This topic was part of my video, but it's better to diverge to have better pacing. I'll be frank and say that I have the least experience with PlayStation out of the three companies. My first Sony console was a PS4. I picked up the PS4 over the Xbox One in 2017, which I don't know why, to be honest. It probably got to do with JRPG exclusive like Nier Automata, Persona 5, and Blue Reflection. Though I could have just gotten it on PC since I did get into PC gaming around that time. It was more of a budget PC. It was a $500 APU PC. It didn't even have a dedicated GPU. I couldn't even play Neptunia V2 consistently since it flickered, even though half of the game is like a visual novel. It just makes sense since Dark Souls 2 and Tales of Systeria was perfectly fine. I didn't really hate the Xbox One like most people did back in 2013. It would have been a console I picked over the PS4 if I had money at launch. Funnily enough, the Wii U was the first console I picked over them. I remember getting the Smash 4 and Splatoon bundle in Black Friday, since it was when I recently got into Smash 4 competitively. It's probably one of my biggest regrets I've ever done, not because of the Wii U, ironically enough. Competitive Smash probably ruined my gaming experience, though it's not Smash 4's fault. It got to do with Ultimate. If you want me to give a video about it, I'd do it. It's an interesting story to explain. But yeah, when I was in Walmart, these PlayStation fanboys behind me were being fanboys and were talking shit about consoles because they're Sony fanboys. First, they were shit talking Xbox and they saw me having a Wii U, and then they were like, "Who wants to buy a Wii U?" Which is fair, to be honest. Though it does validate why I find Sony fanboys super annoying. I remember having a Sony fanboy as a friend back in middle school, and he constantly fanboyed about how much the PS3 is better than the Xbox 360. It got so annoying that my other friends got pissed too, since they had an Xbox as well. I cut him off in high school, but before that, we used to talk to each other on Facebook. It was when Gen 8 came out, and he kept pestering about the Xbox One sucks whenever I post anything Xbox related. It got bad to the point I had to remove him because he kept making claims that Sony would take over the gaming market and Xbox and Nintendo are worthless. He'd argued that PC gaming is irrelevant. He kinda got what he wanted in the end, but I think the whole Sony monopoly will bite him in the ass. You probably get why I was avoiding to get a Sony console for all these years. I'd argue Nintendo fanboys all there was, but Sony fanboys just annoy me more. Back to the point, I was always a Nintendo kid growing up. I grew up with the Nintendo 64 and GameCube. I co-mained a Wii and Xbox 360. I always kinda hated PlayStation, even before the console war bit, because I remember wanting to get Kingdom Hearts and Sly Cooper, but they were exclusive for the PS2, which made me mad. It's probably more about me hating exclusive than Sony themselves, but you get the point. I did eventually get to play Kingdom Hearts with the collection on PS4, but I never did get to play Sly Cooper, since it's stuck in the past. You could argue I could just emulate the games, which you are right, but I don't know. I just prefer playing games on native hardware. I do emulate, but it's more of a last case scenario. I'll probably get around it when I buy a Vita, since I want to mod it. Thinking back to the past, it's quite funny how much I didn't like PlayStation at the time, since I like JRPGs and my favorite games are Tales of Symphonia and Vesperia, Raiden Kratos, and I like Eternal Sonata and Star Ocean on the Xbox 360 version. Life story aside, let's talk about current gen. Recently, I managed to get both the PS5 and Xbox Series X last year. My personal opinion is that PS5 is a disappointing console. I was never a PlayStation fan, but I did like the PS4. Granted, I didn't get any of the movie swap exclusive like The Last of Us or Horizon, but I did get Spider-Man, and I enjoyed it. For the PS5, it's pretty overrated. I was actually planning to get a PS4 Pro instead, because it was cheaper and I wanted a stronger hardware for my PS4 games. My dad said he'll help me out to get it, so why not? For a year of owning it, it's fine for what it is, though half of the usage comes from me playing MiHoYo games. I'm in the feel that people are a bit too harsh on this current generation, but I do agree that the ninth gen is a downgrade compared to last gen. You could argue that there's some heavy hitters like Elden Ring, Astrobot, Expedition 33, but they are overpraised, albeit they are still good games. Though I can talk about it in a different video, since it's about consoles. I think it's a bit funny that people make fun of the Xbox Series X as a boring and uninteresting console, when it has a more interesting niche than the PS5. I'm not gonna say Xbox didn't deserve the flack that it has gotten over the years, but I am a firm believer of the Xbox tax. I'm not going to call anyone out, but I notice people make these weird statements that the Xbox Series X is a bad console, or it doesn't bring anything new to the table, when the PS5 had the same issue, but to a lesser extent. A lot of the games goes to PC and didn't have much exclusive. Plus, most of the first party games aren't that good. PlayStation fans will get mad at me, but I'll save my reasons in a different video. Either way, Xbox Series X, in my experience, fulfilled my requirement. It was originally going to be my side console, since it was more of a backward compatible machine, but I enjoyed the features it brought. Xbox Play Anywhere and Quick Resume is probably my favorite feature. It's just a shame that it didn't do well. As much as I would like to blame Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond, the bigger problem is probably with Amy Hood and Satya Nadia. PlayStation also have corporate issues too, but Microsoft held back Xbox a lot more despite what the Xbox team have been trying to recover from the screw up. I don't know how long Xbox can last in terms of being a home console, though I don't believe that Xbox is dying as much as PlayStation fanboys and other gaming channels have been fear-mongering. It'd be stupid for Microsoft to let Xbox die as a platform. The most realistic option for Microsoft is to let Xbox be a luxury console and try to be more of a publisher. I don't think it's the dumbest option. Ideally, Xbox do want an ecosystem. There's a reason why they have been trying hard to make Xbox Play Anywhere a thing. In my personal opinion, I don't like exclusive because I always feel like it's a bad way to limit games to other people, especially if they can't afford it. But I get why it's one of the main reasons Xbox Series X didn't catch the attention of gamers. Look, there's many things to criticize Phil Spencer, and I wouldn't say I like him, But I do agree with his take that making exclusive doesn't automatically make people want to switch from a PS5 to an Xbox. Though, I feel like the Xbox team could have focused a lot more on the console than they should have. I won't say I'm depressed, but it does make me sad as someone that grew up on the Xbox. PS5 is a fine console and all, but Xbox feels a lot more interesting as a platform. It's one of the only consoles where you can play the same game on console and PC if the company allowed the game to be Xbox Play Anywhere. The features the PS5 brings doesn't really interest me. I don't really care about the special effects that the PS5 controller brings, since a lot of games do not even support it. The VR is a niche thing. You kind of get my point. It is what it is. I feel like the Xbox should have gotten more sales, but it's a bit too complex to explain in a video like this. I just think if Xbox ever stopped competition, it will bring a lot of trouble in the gaming market. As much as Xbox haters think it's a good idea for Xbox to not exist anymore. For Nintendo, I don't have a Switch 2, so my thoughts will be more limited. I used to be a big Nintendo fan, but I started to grow a dislike towards them ever since they tried to price gouge the Wii U ports. Like, it's crazy that the Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze port costs $60 on the Switch just because they added a new mode. It was $20 on the Wii U ever since they put it on the Nintendo Select. That grew a red flag for me that Nintendo is taking its fans for granted. Don't forget that Nintendo added a limited time to buy Super Mario 3D All-Stars. To Nintendo's credit, in terms of games, I do think Nintendo actually released games that is a lot more engaging than movie slop and open world slop games that Xbox and PlayStation released in this generation. Despite that, I don't have that much attachment towards some of the Switch games compared to the older games. Mario Odyssey is decent, but Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 are better, and Mario Sunshine is unique despite its issues. Smash Ultimate is good. I played it competitively, and I managed to beat some of the PR players in my region. As a single player game, I hate it. It's not as bad as Smash 4, but World of Light is garbage. It took me days to beat it, and it's kind of boring too. Like, it's fine on its own, but you had to beat it if you want to get customization for the music lobby. I don't know why Sakurai couldn't just make something a lot more fun, like Subspace Emissary. I mean, I knew the reason, but it is so dumb. It's one of the reasons why Brawl is one of the best Smash games, especially as a casual game. Either way, Smash Ultimate sucks, and I hate the community. Although, I would probably buy the next Smash game when it gets announced. The Switch 2 games haven't been interesting either. Metroid Prime 4 seems mid, and my friend that has been a fan of the series for years has been complaining about it. Pokemon CA seems worse than Legends Arceus. You kinda get the point. Though I heard the Kirby Air Ride sequel has been good. I do want to get it, since I enjoyed the first game on the GameCube. I like Xenoblade 2 as well. It's definitely in my top 20 games at most. I do have Xenoblade 3, but I haven't got a chance to play it. I kinda have a fatigue of playing long games at the moment. From what I heard Xenoblade 3 is worse than 1 and 2. I'll get around it before judging though. Oh yeah, Fire Emblem 3 Houses was pretty good. Way better than Fire Emblem Fates. I haven't played the latest Fire Emblem game. I think it was called Fire Emblem Engage. The reason why I didn't play it is that I'm getting tired of the bad localization. Fire Emblem never had good localization, but still, it's kinda getting annoying, especially in the culture war. I don't know, I'll probably buy it on eBay someday. I got sidetracked. I want to complain more about Nintendo. Their hardware sucks. I already said that, but still. We all know that ever since the GameCube, Nintendo stopped competing with Xbox and PlayStation in specs. The Nintendo Wii is weak. It's basically GameCube on steroids. And the Wii U sometimes loses to the Xbox 360 and PS3. The GPU was good, but was held back by the CPU. The Nintendo Switch 1 is barely an upgrade from the Wii U, so they're technically way behind now. Sure, the hardware isn't what makes the console sell, but still, it got held back a lot. Like, it doesn't matter how many games get released or ported to the Switch, if it means it'll run bad or looks blurry. I have seen people defending the Switch 1 with The Witcher 3 or the Doom port. Have you seen those two games on the Switch? The former looks blurry and runs at 540p handheld and dynamic 720p on dock. It's not even native 720p. Doom 2016 runs at 30 FPS, which doesn't feel good on today's standards. It would be fine on the Xbox 360, but it's modern times, so it's not an impressive feat. I saw some Doom 3 footage on the Switch, and it's not even stable 60 FPS. It sucks. Even on some indie games, it either doesn't run well, or it runs at 30 FPS, even though it's a pixel game. PS4 or even Xbox One counterpart doesn't share the same issue. Right now, I played Endless Lilies on the Switch, and while it's stable at 60 FPS most of the time, it sometimes stutters once in a while. You could argue that it's using Unreal Engine 4, but one of my friends on Twitter said that he doesn't have that issue on PC. Speaking of hardware, can we talk about the stick drift on the Joy-Cons? It's terrible. I had to give it to Nintendo for it to be fixed. I also had two Nintendo Pro controllers with stick drift. This trash costed $80 each. I could buy two Xbox controllers at similar price, while the controller looks and feel better than the Pro. I'm just happy that the third one I got is so fine. I would say Nintendo used to make solid hardware, but I wouldn't say my Nintendo hardware history has been great. Two of my Nintendo 64 doesn't work anymore, and it happened the same thing to my GameCube. I did have a Game Boy Advance, but it broke. To be fair, it was my fault. Though I would say my Wii and my Wii U still works till this day. My 2DS works as well. It's still too early to say, but Nintendo Switch 2 didn't fix the stick drift issue from the Switch 1. We still have to wait until more info comes out. The only good thing with the Switch 2 hardware is that it's a lot stronger, but it's not like it's impressive or anything. Pretty much like a PS4 or an Xbox Series S on a good day. Plus, the Tomb Raider port on the Switch 2 doesn't look as good as the PS4 version, so it's kind of embarrassing. I don't know, for now it's fine, but the issue will come back again when more games use Unreal Engine 5. It's funny because Borderlands 4 got delayed for the Switch 2. I think the biggest offender of all is the keycards. I don't mind buying digital games, but I prefer to buy games on physical, which is why I buy consoles till this day. If Nintendo, this includes Xbox and PlayStation, stop making physical games, I'm not going to buy consoles anymore. PCs aren't really consoles, but I might as well talk about this. Steam technically is releasing a quote-unquote a console, so I think it's worth to be part of the conversation as well. PC is one of my main gaming platforms nowadays. I own two PCs. My main PC have a 5800X 3D and a 7900 XTX, while my second PC has a 4070 Ti Super and a 7800X 3D. In a realistic sense, I shouldn't really care about consoles, but I have a soft spot for them because of physical games and they're simpler to use. My real concern for PC is the RAM, of course. I like PCs, but for a decade, PCs have gotten more expensive. Whether it's from mining, crypto, AI, it's making it harder for people to get into this hobby. No video is planning to decrease production value, so it can focus on AI. They even told the AIBs to get their own RAM for their GPUs. As much as I want AMD to fix this issue for us, they are joining this as well, since they are recently gaining a lot more attention for AI. I don't know how well the deal Steam made for the Steam machine, but I can imagine the price being a bit uncompetitive. I can't imagine Steam machine doing that well, even if the RAM or price issue isn't a problem. I saw a poll where over 100k people voted, and half of the people voted no, they would not buy it. It makes sense since Steam Deck only have around 5 million sales, probably a bit more. It's kind of funny, since people say Steam will kill Xbox when Steam Deck can't even beat the Wii U in sales. I mean, I want a Steam Deck too, but people show way too hard for Steam. At the end of the day, I do want more competition, but let's be realistic. At best, I can imagine Steam being real competitive in 2 or 3 gens from now. For now, I think they are in a tough spot just because of the RAM issues. I feel like I got most of the things I wanted to say. I could have said more, but this video is starting to get too long. I mean, it took a whole month for me to make this video. To be fair, I could have done it way sooner, maybe like a week, but I got a bit busy. So I'll leave it at that. To summarize the point of this video, I think video games, especially consoles, are heading to a bad spot. Even with PC getting more popular and such, I can't see a stable market for it due to the past event and the fact that there's a RAM shortage right now. I don't think I'll buy any more consoles and start focus on physical games on my PS5 and Xbox before it becomes a dead media. I'll most likely get a Switch 2 since I want more stable frame rate on my Switch 1 games. I might buy the new Xbox if it has some sort of way to play all the games on disc. I'm 50-50 on whether they will add physical, but a guy can dream. If it's a digital only console, then I guess it's goodbye for Xbox for me. I may be an Xbox shell, but even I have standards. I don't care about PlayStation enough for me to get a PS6. Most of the games are movie flops, and Spider-Man 2 killed my interest for a new sequel. I decided to buy and collect older gen consoles and their games. I recently bought an OG Xbox, and I've been liking it. If you will look at my footage, I was playing Microsoft, and it has been a fun game. It's one of those games where I have to play in short bursts, but it's still a good game. I thought about getting PS3 and PS2, but I might wait until I have enough money or if this YouTube career becomes successful enough. Either way, I'm thankful if anyone decided to watch this video all the way through. The video was a bit yappy, and it's one of the most overdone topics. Though I wanted to express my feelings about the downfall of all 3 consoles. I don't want my channel to be solely about video games, but it's on my top list to rant about. Feel free to subscribe. I'll try to upload a video every week or 2, so stay tuned.